Alright guys, uh, at this point I just finished sanding with the sander, 80 grits sand, sanded rough, and I just finished sanded after that with 100 grit sandpaper. So I use 100 grit sandpaper right after that to have all the ducts out before I wet sand it. Go ahead and use 220. You don't necessarily have to use 320 grit sandpaper, but you just simply use 220 grit sandpaper and sand it after that. And then, most likely you want to sand all the rough space, the rough spot right here on the edges. It's real rough on the edges. To smooth it down, sand it more on the edges down over here, around here. Yeah, smooth it down with 100 and 220. And then lastly, use wet sand it. So just get you a damp um, wet cloth there and wet it around that sand area, and then start the wet sanding process. Remember not to sand on this hole marks with a white owl. I mark this hole. Uh, those are the holes that I use white owl to mark before I drill and install my aftermarket spoiler wings here. Um, but anyway, guys, this is the part up to part 5 of showing you guys how to install my aftermarket carbon fiber wings on my 98 Eclipse. So just make sure not to wet sand this, because then you're gonna have to mark it again. Because you don't want to mark it again. I mark it because I want to make a video showing you guys. So I marked it before I even sand it. But you can do it before or after. It don't really matter. Just don't sand it if you're gonna wet sand it. Don't sand it if you have to mark it before. Okay. And right now, and there's two more marks over there. Just don't wet sand it. Those areas. And I just go ahead and start the wet sand process. Um, I can find where it's my okay, my 600. Okay, we're gonna use 600 sandpaper. I'm gonna wet sand it. 600 sandpaper. I have a bucket of water bucket down here. Get some water onto the 600 grit sandpaper. Start wet sanding the bondo area. Kind of wet sand on the sides, on the edges, so you get all the roughness out. Uh, get all the oval out. Most likely you're going to sand on the edges as much as possible. And I just done it a minute ago, and I made a video and just accidentally deleted it again, so I have to really do it again. But you do want to use the air compressor, air gun here to blow out the dirt. You know, blow out the dirt before I even wet sand it. Um, so yeah, that's what it's for. I should have done that first, but anyway, you guys already know how to clean the bondo before you wet sanding it. I mean, cleaning the bondo with the air blow uh, gun before you wet sanding it. So I kind of finished my wet sanding already. Like I've done, this is my second time going over with this. You can just use 400 wet sand or 600, don't really matter. I just go straight to 600. And then if you really want to be real smooth, go to 500, 1,000 or 1200, and it's gonna be real smooth. The more smooth, the better when you start painting, putting primer on and start painting the base coat on. So right after this, I'm gonna clean it up, you know, clean it up with a wet rag like this. Make sure don't sand don't wet sand this mark, you know, for the carbon fiber aftermarket spoiler bolts, you know. So I'm gonna clean it up and have it dry. Or you can use a heat gun to dry it real quick. You're really gonna have no time, you know, you're really gonna want to install the spoiler right on. Have a heat gun and dry it, and put spray primer on, primer coat on, and then have it dry again, and then you can go ahead and sand the primer too. I'm not going to show you that in my next video, which is video 6, part 6. Um, so after this dry, um, go ahead and after it dry, go ahead and spray. I'm going to spray primer coat on it, and then wet sand a little bit again before I put in base coat, or just wait to go to a paint shop to paint this area right here, or I can just go black paint right on after that, and then just go to the paint shop if I choose to do it that way. And then I think I'm gonna have primer coat on, and then just clean it like that, and then go ahead and start installing my universal spoiler wings right there. Um, is So next thing is I need to, I don't think I'm gonna, I don't think I'm gonna cut, I don't think I'm gonna cut uh, this area here, because I'm gonna have to end up cutting there if I'm not cutting it, because when I drew it for the bolts, I'm gonna need to cut it if I'm gonna use the same bolts on my spoiler here. I think this is the M10 metric M10 bolts, so it's pretty short, you see. I have 4 of it, 2 up here and 2 down there. Right now you can go ahead and adjust the spoiler if you wanted to, because this my carbon fiber universal spoiler, I can adjust it somehow. So I might adjust it before I install it onto my 98 Eclipse here, but most likely, you know, it's already adjusted. It was installed in my Integra, so I mean there's really not need to adjust it anymore. It's just looking better with the 98 Eclipse here because it's round looking. Uh, so, but back to the boat, you know, the boat is kind of short. So after I drew it, I'm gonna make a video showing you guys why I drew it. Drew an M8 hole size, and then I'm gonna have to end up getting a longer boat at Lowe's and Home Depot, because this part area right here, if I don't drew it, if I don't buy me a longer boat, I'm gonna have to end up cutting it. See, the holes end up like somewhere right here. So I'm gonna have to end up, you know, buying longer bolts before after I drill it, um, before I can install my aftermarket carbon fiber spoiler on to the back of my 98 Eclipse here. So that's my plan, guys. So that's about it, guys. After sanding, wet sanding, clean the area and let it dry. Spray primer on if you wanted to, or just go ahead and start drilling the holes, and then, you know, do the primer after that. And it should, you know, I should be ready to install the aftermarket carbon fiber spoiler onto the back of my trunk here, 98 Eclipse trunk. And so my next thing is start drilling the holes and go to Lowe's or Home Depot and look for the longer M10 bolts, metric bolts, because I'm not thinking about cutting the area. So all right, guys, that's it for this video, part 5, showing you guys how to install an aftermarket spoiler on the back of the 98 Eclipse trunk here. um, it's a hatchback coupe, however you want to call it. So it's gonna look real nice and cool. But I'll show you a video step to step through the process to the finish. Alright guys, it's me, Young Leo Akil, is signing out for now. Bye guys. Peace. See you in my next video. Thanks for watching my channel, Auto Modifier Sport channel.